Hello, friends, and we welcome you to the debut of Chat Sports' new show, NFL Daily. I'm Tom Downey, alongside me, Harris Rubinstein. We've got NFL power rankings on tap for you today, plus some news and notes on some of the latest NFL news, including some breaking news that we'll get to here in just a few moments. But Harris, real NFL football is about to happen here. I am so thankful. Finally.
It's been too long. We've been waiting, and now tomorrow night we got Chiefs Patriots. We're gonna have a great season this year. I can feel it in my bones.
Set up in our new Dallas studios. I can't be more excited. We are 100% live, so if you guys have thoughts, comments, whatever, get them in the comments section. Producer Brett Scott can bring them up on screen throughout the show. So get those comments, thoughts, and reactions in the comments section. We'd love to have them on the show. Bring something that other shows just don't do today.
A little more personal feel.
Yeah, I totally agree there. And don't forget to download the Chat Sports app at chatsports.com/app. Everything you need if you're a NFL fan, whatever team. Harrison,
anything.
You're a Patriots guy.
I am a Patriots fan.
I'm a Cowboys guy.
We're in kind of enemy territory here in Dallas.
Anything you want, get it today at chatsports.com/app. And if you have the Chat Sports app, you would have noticed this already in your feed. We already have an article out on it. A little bit of breaking news here. Myles Garrett, an ankle injury suffered in practice today. The Browns fear it's a serious one, which
God hates Cleveland.
God hates Cleveland. It's not fair to Cleveland. So we don't have any significant details on it yet. An MRI is scheduled for Myles Garrett and the Browns to get the exact severity of that injury, but a not promising sign a handful of days before the NFL season starts. The Browns, the season status of their star defensive end, their first overall pick, in doubt.
It's kind of disappointing because I know everyone was looking forward. You got Kaiser on one side of the ball and Deshaun Kaiser one side of the ball, and Myles Garrett on the other. Now we don't really know. I mean, at least we do have Jabril Peppers on the Browns side of the ball for defense, but it sucks to see Myles Garrett go down.
Here's the good thing. NFL Daily is, as the name implies, a daily show.
Oh, yeah.
So like NFL by Chat Sports on Facebook, we'll go live every day, 6 p.m. Eastern. You can do the math for the other time zones. I'm sure we'll have more information tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely.
So like the page, you'll get notified when we go live, and we'll have more to talk about on Myles Garrett and whatever updates we have on his injury.
Seriously.
Some other news and notes. Bucs-Dolphins, week 1, not actually going to be played this week. That's been postponed to November 19th, week 11. Hurricanes coming through, and they can't play in a hurricane.
Yeah,
so no game.
It's either don't have a bye week or play football in 78-mile-per-hour winds and endanger all your fans. Not a great idea.
Probably more of a line of let's try and move it to Friday and then end up with you're not actually letting people leave the area that they need to be leaving because they want to go to the game. So unless you wanted to go play it in like California,
tough.
You're just going to postpone. Both teams had the bye week in week 11. It just made sense. This was the simplest way of going about it.
Tough situation. Everyone in Florida, please go to safety. Yes. This is going to be a doozy again.
Yeah. More news and notes here. Cowboys, the Zeke suspension upheld, but he's going to play in week 1, which doesn't really make sense on the surface, but the NFL, the appeal came back. Suspension is 6 games. That was the ruling from Harold Henderson. The court said, no, we're going to make this ruling later in the week, so he's going to play on week 1 if they're going to give him that restraining order, and the more Deflategate stuff is what I would say. It's Deflategate 2.0.
This is the most NFL thing to have ever NFL. Just when you think they couldn't mess up more things, they somehow messed this up. I don't understand. They got to get this sorted out. This is insane. We're
going to get to some more divisional roundup news and notes here. What we're going to have first, though, is Harris, I want to tell you about this. Our presenting sponsor for today's show, Mizzen and Main. Now, Harris, if you're like me, and I think you are,
a little bit.
First thing you do when you get home from the office is you change into some athletic clothes because they're the most comfortable thing that you own. Now, you can have that at the office with a Mizzen and Main dress shirt. They use performance fabrics. They're comfortable, and they're so good that they actually look like regular dress shirts, even though it's the performance fabric in there. We wear them. We love to wear them. Don't worry about the spelling. Just go to www.comfortable.af. That is .af. That's a real website, folks. .af, because they are comfortable as F.
They live up to the name. Look, I just moved here from Dallas. I have a ton of these shirts waiting to come to me in Baltimore. I miss them so much. I need these shirts to get here as soon as they possibly can. They're usually what I wear. Roll up the sleeves. I'm comfy. I look good. They're my number 1 choice.
Free returns, free shipping as well, so it's very easy on that end. My favorite one is my green one, which, spoiler alert, folks, this is a green screen. It's not a real set.
It's not going to work.
So I look like a hologram, so I can't wear it on air.
So Chat Sports across.
It looks really weird. It's funny, but it looks,
100%.
Don't do that. So you can get, again, www.comfortable.af is the website. Mizzen and Main, our presenting sponsor for today. And Brett, looks like we have some comments and questions here that we want to get to as well here. First one coming in from Aaron Morales Marquez says, can you talk about Aaron Donald?
Oh, yeah.
We will get to this again later on in the show. We have some more planned, but we'll get to this as well. The update, for those of you that haven't heard, he hasn't reported yet.
Nope.
So the holdout will drag into the season.
2 words. Pay him. That's it. We'll talk more later.
I was hoping you were going to say pay the man, which would have been really funny.
Pay him.
So that's the Aaron Donald there. Anthony Holder, friend of the show, Anthony, asks, how is there no other stadium to play at? There are other stadiums. You can't really play in the Tampa or Miami area in reality.
It's more of like a lot of these players obviously have their families in Southern Florida, and they're probably going to want to do something this week to get them out of Florida, or at least be at their home where they can be with their families. I remember, we had a lot of conversations about the Houston Texans players not being able to come home during Hurricane Harvey. So I really... It's an annoying thing to have to do because obviously, there's a Category 5 hurricane off the coast of Florida. So it's just an unfortunate thing that they have to do. 16 straight weeks of football. That is a big challenge, though. That's insane.
Another question coming in here. First off, Raiders. I always appreciate there. Asks, what's going on with Janikowski? Harris, I'll let you take this one because I'm going to give some self-credit here in a little bit.
The Polish cannon is being basically pushed out by the Oakland Raiders. I know he's old and he's injuries and his back's giving out, but first they asked him to take a pay cut. Then they start bringing in kickers to compete with him. I think they're kind of doing the Polish cannon wrong, but welcome to life in the NFL when you're 30, 35 years old.
I'm just going to point this out, and all you Oakland fans in the comments, feel free to give me a little pat on the back here, because earlier in the offseason, I did some notable players Raiders could cut article on the chat on chatsports.com. Get it, the app, chatsports.com/app. On the list was Sebastian Janikowski. And everyone was like, oh no, there's no way the Raiders are going to cut Seabass. Well, here we are. There's a decent chance now.
I have a question before we move on from this. If he does get cut, and let's say he retires, is Sebastian Janikowski a Hall of Fame kicker?
Well, I don't think kickers are people, so no. I kid. I don't know if there should actually be kickers and punters outside of Rega in the Hall of Fame.
Adam Vinatieri, because he won 2 Super Bowls with just his leg. Look, if there's any kicker, it has to be Adam Vinatieri.
I don't know.
For another day.
That's a weigh-in for a different day. We'll talk more about Janikowski and some of the stuff we just mentioned here in our little divisional roundup news and notes. We'll start with the AFC East. The Brady concussion thing, Harris. Nothing.
Nothing at all. I mean, I know his wife, Giselle, came out and was like, oh, he's played with concussion before, and Brady denied it, Belichick denied it, Robert Kraft denied it.
Which, by the way, he totally has. Let's not kid ourselves here. They just couldn't find the evidence.
Most players have at some point in their careers played through their quote-unquote bell getting rung or something of the sort. I don't know if Brady's ever played through a major concussion, but I'm sure he's taken some dinks along the way and played through them. Not a big surprise.
And we mentioned Dolphins-Bucs game has been postponed to Week 11 because of the hurricane. The Bills, they went in. This was a bit of a surprise. They cut Jonathan Williams.
Tank.
This was unexpected.
I love it.
Semi-unrelated. I'm in a dynasty fantasy league for the first time this year. He went kind of early.
He's a good running back. He was supposed to be the only thing keeping LaShawn McCoy from literally not having legs at the end of this season. I don't even know who their backup running back is anymore. So
Mike Tolbert. The return of Mike Tolbert.
Sean McDermott bringing all of his Panthers guys to Buffalo.
The Carolina Bills.
Oh, yeah. I don't really understand this. What was even weirder is that he went unclaimed on waivers.
Broncos practice squad. The Jets traded Sheldon Richardson to the Seahawks. They got back a second-round pick in Jermaine Kearse. And then the Patriots traded for Philip Dorsett, sending away Jacoby Brissett.
Ironically, the Jets made a really good trade. They acquired a second-round pick and Jermaine Kearse, and the Patriots made a decent trade too, picking up a punt returner and another very, very fast option on the outside. Good job, Jets. You did something right. We're all very proud of you.
Our first weigh-in, though, folks, who will be worse, Jets or Bills? Get your comments in the comments section. I'm curious to see how this goes here. I'm going Jets, and I will point this out in some of our preseason stuff, and Brett can confirm this here behind the screens as he gives me a head nod. Bills Mafia, who I love dearly, you are fantastic for bruh. You give us great videos of you all doing silly things, and I love it, and I will forever love you in my heart. I didn't think the Bills were going to be that good. Then they started tanking.
They're cutting everybody. I just think this Bills team, if Tyrod Taylor goes down, they're just as bad.
If LaShawn McCoy goes down.
If LaShawn McCoy goes down, they're just as, if they lose any player on that offense that does anything remotely worth production, they're done.
I see a lot of
Not that
Jets.
they aren't done anyway.
Jets comments coming in. Anthony says Jets because New Jersey. I think that one's pretty funny. So I think the Jets have won this one. Quick question though: Will they win a game? Yes or no answer?
Yes, they will. I think the
think they
Jets
will
will win one, maybe 2 games. This is the NFL, and also just a little prediction for people. Bilal Powell is going to have a really, really good season for the Jets.
Someone has to touch the ball.
Exactly. They have a decent offensive line. It's not horrifyingly bad. Their defensive line is still okay because Leonard Williams is a monster. They could squeeze out a close game. The Browns won a game last year. Anything can happen.
Ugly games.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Browns, that brings us to our AFC North roundup here in the little news and notes section brought to you by Chat Sports. Myles Garrett, we just mentioned this at the top of our show, Harris, injured the ankle in practice. He's going to get an MRI. The Browns fear that it's serious.
Unfortunate. Very unfortunate. This is Myles Garrett we're talking about. This is a generational level pass rusher coming out of college. It sucks. Again, I just wanted to watch him play NFL football. Now we're just going to have to wait more weeks. Like, Jabril Peppers is going to be fun to watch, like I said before.
He is fun to watch.
Kirksey will be fun to watch on the linebacker position. Jamie Collins is going to play safety this year or something. But Myles Garrett being out is really unfortunate for that team.
John Ross will miss at least the first week, probably a few more as he deals with his own injury problems. The Bengals at least have some receiver depth, but
yeah, exactly.
he would like to have that toy out there in week 1 for Andy Dalton.
I'm predicting this year because the Bengals are the most predictable offense of all time. They're going to run 50 end-arounds with John Ross when he comes back. They might run 4 a game with him. They did this so many times when he actually played in the preseason. Just end-around after end-around after end-around.
They like to run the ball a lot. That's been their thing.
It reminds me of what the Eagles did when Deshaun Jackson first came out of Cal. All they did was just run end-arounds constantly. It's the wackiest thing.
Steelers added Joe Hayden. I think most of us have heard that one already. He goes from one AFC North team to the other, gives them a cornerback boost. Joe Flacco cleared to play. Good news for the Ravens. And that offense is iffy, so we'll talk more about that.
The only player who was on the IR.
Yeah. Ray Lewis again chimed in on Colin Kaepernick. You want to delve into that one a little bit here?
This is just, you guys can't see my face right now. If my whole head was an eyeball, I'd be doing a massive eye roll. This is just a massive,
That's a weird vision to put in my head.
Massive eye roll. Ray Lewis needs to stop talking about this, first of all. He's not even in the league anymore, and apparently he's like the almighty consultant of football. Just stop this already. It's too much for me. I can't take this anymore.
And then our final little news and note here, TJ Watt is getting the starting nod over James Harrison. Harrison somehow is in the league, and that's a surprise in and of itself. I think Watt will be kind of more of a run stop early in his career. He was actually very good at that at Wisconsin. Harrison's still going to get to the quarterback.
It's interesting. They drafted Jarvis Jones a couple years ago. Then they got rid of him, and then they drafted the same exact player, and expecting the same results. I believe is that insanity, Tom? I think that's insanity.
The funny thing is, I like Jones more than Watt coming out. But of course, I was wrong on Jones. So
it was unfortunate. He just didn't end up literally having a working spine, which is kind of a problem for football. So.
Little fantasy question here coming in from Matt Crozier says, Flacco or Cutler week 1, is forfeiting an option? Because those aren't great quarterback options there.
He has someone to throw to.
I would probably go Cutler. I don't know how much I trust the Ravens offense right now, and just be prepared that Cutler is going to throw really dumb passes.
Yeah.
He'll complete some of them, but I think the upside is higher with Cutler.
Do you know who the #1 target is for the Ravens right now?
I think it's technically still Mike Wallace.
It's bumping Benny Watson, who somehow has still in the league, Benny Watson, and is now the #1 tight end on a team that was supposed to be a playoff team.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Give it Cutler.
What happened to Jeremy Curley, cut by the 49ers? That was a surprise to me, at least. I don't know if it surprised you at all.
Jeremy Curley worked out for the Jets yesterday, and I'm afraid. Jeremy Curley, for whatever reason, has always dominated the Patriots. They can't stop him whenever he's on the Jets.
By the way. He didn't just worked out. He's signed. This is good.
I'm scared. I have a very strange fear of Jeremy Curley. He always dominates the Patriots for whatever reason. Keep him away.
The trick question, by the way, with Cutler for week 1. I assumed he meant week 2 because Cutler's not playing week 1.
That's very good.
It was a trick question. It was a good trick question.
Well done.
Maybe still Cutler, though.
Maybe still Cutler. Yeah, no, Joe Flacco should not be starting on anyone's team in week 1. Just put him on the bench. Leave him alone.
AFC South roundup now here. Andrew Luck will not play in week 1 as he continues to battle with his shoulder issue that probably going to cost him more than a week. Probably going to cost him at least 2, maybe 3.
You guys will see this when we go through our power rankings. I'm going to leave Andrew Luck in that whole thing until we get to the power rankings because it's awful.
Corey Davis will be prepared to go for against the Oakland Raiders. That was the Titans' first round pick this year. The Texans game will be played in Houston.
Good.
So that'll be able to be played there. Colts here as well. We'll mention this one. 26 new players on the roster. A complete overhaul.
A complete overhaul. Their new GM came in and said, hey, Ryan Grigson, you had no idea how to create a football team. I'm going to get rid of literally half of the football team. It's good job by the Colts. They needed to start somewhere, but this roster is
Matt's got another
awful.
funny question. Andrew Luck or Flacco week 1? I still might take Luck. This is turning into the anti-Joe Flacco, of course.
The
anti-Ravens
broadcast up in here.
Luck's not playing, but we have a reaction poll here about the Colts backup quarterback, Scott Tolzien. Could you win a game with Tolzien as your starting quarterback, or can you?
I'm gonna give a little thumbs up here because I literally think that my grandma has a better chance of winning a game than he does at quarterback.
I actually very much disagree with this. I do think you can win a game with Scott Tolzien. Now, I will say that winning a game and actually winning a game is very different.
That's fair. It's two very, very different things. I just don't. How, if you're the Colts, how do you go into a season with him as your starting quarterback?
I might just throw Brissett out there knowing he doesn't know the offense at all.
This is like the Cowboys waking up and realizing, yeah, we probably shouldn't have Kellen Moore as our backup quarterback. We're going to find a better option. Now, credit the Colts. They did get Jacoby Brissett, and he's going to be their long-term option as a backup quarterback. But, this is going to be an awful first week for the Colts.
Yeah, had some good comments in there. Someone brought up Trent Dilfer about being able to win a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer.
Anyone can win one based on
twice the quarterback that Scott Tolzien has ever been.
From what we've seen of Tolzien, it's very bad.
Yes, awful.
So we will leave it at that one. J.J. Watt, his foundation is now up to $27 million. For the
amazing
relief efforts of Hurricane Harvey. Fantastic work.
A lot of people kind of go at J.J. Watt for being a little cheesy from time to time, this and that. That's over. What an unbelievable achievement for him.
Do you know what else J.J. Watt likes?
What?
Mizzen and Main. He is the lead athlete endorser of Mizzen and Main, and they are our presenting sponsor for today's show. The news and notes roundup here is brought to you by Mizzen and Main. Harris, they make incredibly comfortable dress shirts for guys made out of performance fabrics. That means no ironing and no dry cleaning. That's a big deal for you.
It is. I'm kind of on the lazier side of people. I enjoy just kind of going home, hanging up my shirt, and then forgetting about it, not having to do anything with it, and then maybe wearing it the next day or a couple days after. Yeah. These are perfect for me.
I'm a respectable adult, so I have an iron. Now, I don't really have an iron place to use it because I have an air mattress and a coffee table at my apartment right now.
Amen.
But this does make things easier. Again, you guys can check that out. Head over to www.comfortable.af to check them out. That is .af. That is a real website.
It's awesome.
It is comfortable as F. At least that's what the kids are saying these days.
Absolutely.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to NFL Daily. Once again, I'm Tom Downey. Alongside me, Harris Rubinstein. We'll head now to the AFC West roundup, all the latest news and notes we have for you from that division. Interesting division this year, very competitive. We'll start with the Broncos. They have the fun one here. They re-signed Brock Osweiler. He's back.
Yes.
He is back.
That's how bad Paxton Lynch is.
This is fun. He's hurt as well. That's why they brought him back.
Yeah.
Sebastian Janikowski, as we mentioned earlier, asked to take a pay cut. Interesting move there. We mentioned that earlier.
Not great. The one person I want to shout out on this list is that Young Ho Koo has won the Chargers kicking battle.
I don't know if that's a real person.
That is a real person. And do you know what's even cooler? He's an amazing kicker. He's so good at kicking. I'm pumped to have him on the Chargers this year. I think it's great.
Chiefs linebacker Reggie Ragland will miss week 1, and then Patrick Mahomes, sticking with Kansas City, he's won the backup job.
Absolutely, and he deserves it.
Not that there were other options.
He is so good. His preseason highlight reel is unbelievable. I'm all about it.
And we'll head now over to the NFC East, and we'll start with the Ezekiel Elliott suspension. As we mentioned at the top of today's show, it's upheld, but he's going to play week 1 as we wait for the courts to figure out what they're going to rule on. So he will play against the Giants in week 1, but there is still the pending 6-game suspension.
Again, the NFL has to stop botching situations like this. This is ridiculous. This is unbelievable.
And that brings us to our weigh-in of, do you agree with Zeke's suspension?
I will agree that he would deserve this suspension if he actually did what he was accused of. I'm not to say if he did or didn't, has him ruled in the court of law, whatever it is. However, I don't agree with how the NFL has handled this suspension, with them basically just going after him as if he is guilty. So it's tough to say. I think if he was guilty of what he did, then absolutely. But the NFL has botched it so badly that it's completely distracted from that now.
I felt that all in this has very much been an optics thing for the NFL, and it's now bad optics
100%.
for them.
And it's super rough too. Just over and over and over again seeing situations like this.
I think most of the weigh-in polls here, as Ricardo says, yes, it's a yes or no. Is it more or less, do you think he did it? If you do, then you agree with it. If you don't think he did it, then it's a no.
Like, I'm all for making examples out of certain players based off of their actions. I think that's kind of what we saw with Brady, even though
we saw that with we just saw that with Vontez Burfict.
Yes, very
That's
true.
what we just saw.
Just over and over, like, constant breaking of the rules. 6 games, though, for his first. I think this was one of the things where they expected it to get appealed and maybe brought down to 4 games, like what we saw with Greg Hardy. However, it didn't. So a 6-game suspension hanging over one of the best young players in the NFL is a rough. But again, if he did do what he's accused of doing, then obviously it is totally warranted.
Odell Beckham is still questionable for week 1 with an ankle injury. He didn't officially practice, but he was there and he was working on the side, so that's a positive sign, I guess. Sua Cravens is taking some time away from the Redskins. He considered retiring, and the team talked him out of that, which would have been really interesting, given that
Good for him.
they made him their strong safety for a reason.
Yeah, good for him, like, listening to himself, doing what he wants. And if his head just isn't in football right now. I mean, we had an article last year that came in the middle of the year that says that he basically lost half his vision because of a concussion, and now he has to wear glasses and contacts because his vision was so shaken up. If he needs to make this decision for his health and leave all the money on the table, then good for him.
Chris Thompson is signed a 2-year extension to remain the third down back in Washington. Nate Sudfeld picked the Eagles over the Redskins. The Redskins had drafted him for the practice squad, so he guessed he wanted to go to Philadelphia.
And steal their
and then Michael Lombardi versus Doug Peterson, as those two are engaging in verbal jousting.
Wacky.
Lombardi said that everyone knows Peterson isn't a head coach and he might be the least qualified coach to ever coach a team. I think that's not accurate at all.
Why is he coming at Doug Peterson? Who did Doug Peterson ever hurt?
Hot takes. All about the hot takes from Michael Lombardi.
He's good for Carson Wentz. Like, does it really matter after that? They have good coordinators. Leave it alone. Come on, Lombardi.
NFC North time here. The Bears cut Jeremy Langford to add Taquan Mizzell, who's a little bit more of a third down-ish back. He was in his last with the Ravens. He played at Virginia. Mitchell Trubisky is now the Bears' number 2 quarterback. He is the number 2 QB this year.
He looked great.
The Packers went out and signed Quentin Dial because they need more defensive line help. So they've now 2 notable defensive players they've signed in this kind of preseason, I guess is what we'll call it. Preseason, not quite the preseason, not quite the start of the year with Ahmad Brooks. So
kind of in the middle.
Yeah, I don't have a word for it because I'm not good with words. Lane Taylor signed a 3-year, $16.5 million extension, but the Packers don't know if Brian Bulaga will be able to play to week 1. That's unclear.
And I think this Packers offensive line, they desperately need Brian Bulaga. I think the right half of that offensive line is a little bit shaky, but Bakhtiari on the left side, one of the best left tackles in football. Packers should be okay, but they got to keep Aaron Rodgers up.
And then we have a reaction poll here for the Packers that we'll bring up here. How far will they make it? Playoffs, wild card, conference championship, or the Super Bowl?
We'll get into. I'll just say this now. A little teaser for my Super Bowl prediction. I'm gonna give them a thumbs up. I think the Packers are making it to the Super Bowl this year. Aaron Rodgers is on the warpath this year, people.
I have no issues with that prediction. I think at the very least they'll make it to the conference championship game.
Warpath. path, Aaron Rodgers. Watch out, people.
And then one more quick note on the Vikings. When they tried out their offensive line in week 1, it'll be the first time that they've all played together.
Interesting.
A completely new offensive line to open week 1 because of the release of Alex Boone and some other shuffling up front.
This is a team that's, looking to go very deep into the playoffs. That defense is ready. They signed almost every single defensive star they had to a new extension this year. Barr got one, Rhodes got one, Linval Joseph got one. So this is risky. This offensive line needs a big boost. They were one of the worst units in football last year. Not as bad as Seattle, but the Vikings were bad last year.
Injuries killed them as
Absolutely.
well. We'll head now to the NFC South for NFC South roundup. Again, the Bucs game postponed to week 11. We mentioned that earlier. Well, this is a good time, I think, for a weigh-in on it of, did the NFL make the right decision here?
I'm going to say yes, because I don't know if there was another decision they could have made. It really does suck that they now have to play 16 consecutive games. But when Mother Nature comes calling and Mother Nature throws a Category 5 hurricane at the state of football games going to be played in, it takes precedence, just maybe a little bit.
I agree with you. And it's not ideal, but there is no ideal outcome here. And I think with both teams having their bye that week, that was the simplest route. Sucks for them to have to play 16 straight games, but it is what it is. And folks, get your comments in the comments section. We can bring them up on screen throughout the show. Jeremy McNichols cut. He is now with the 49ers practice squad. He had a chance to rejoin the Bucs. He said, no, I'm going to go out to San Francisco.
I think it's because he's from the Bay Area. I'm not 100% sure about that, but this was a guy, one of the stars of Hard Knocks, he just never could get the playbook under him. And I think with the playbook that they've been running in Tampa Bay, it's a little bit confusing because it's actually a pretty simple playbook. But maybe he'll have a better luck with the 49ers practice squad, give him a chance to grow under a very good offensive coordinator and offensive mind in Kyle Shanahan.
Some comments coming here. One from Anthony Holder says no, and he mentioned this earlier in the show as well. Anthony, one of our best commenters here. It says you can't have 16 games in a row with a trip to London in the middle, so why do this way?
Again, there isn't really much they can do unless they try to play the game on Friday. I mean, I would have liked them see, like, hey, call up a college stadium. Like, maybe they move to Atlanta, or excuse me, not Atlanta. Maybe they go to like the Georgia Stadium in Athens or something. Just, I don't know. There aren't a lot of real options
Dylan
they
says
could do.
Pennsylvania.
Maybe, sure. Throw the game up there. It's just think of all the arrangements you're going to have to make, and then if you don't sell tickets, all of a sudden you're playing an NFL game in an empty stadium against two teams that might honestly end up in the playoffs. The NFL is never going to accept that.
Head back to our NFC South roundup here as we kind of walk you through those NFC South teams. The Falcons have cut Rashid Hageman, the defensive tackle. He's no longer with the team. Talented, but always had some off-the-field issues.
Just kind of a bust, unfortunately. He was really good coming out of, I believe it was Minnesota.
Yes.
Just couldn't put it together. Unfortunate. Hope he gets picked up by someone else.
Cam Newton has now commented on Colin Kaepernick here. He thinks it's really unfair. Do I think Cap is quote, do I think Cap is better than some of the starting QBs in this league? Absolutely.
And again, I think Cam Newton is correct that he is better than some of the starting quarterbacks in the league. Why he isn't in the league, it's kind of obvious at this point. However, it's good to, at this point with the Aaron Rodgers article that came out a couple weeks ago, written by Mina Kimes, that's 2 Super Bowl quarterbacks, 2 MVPs in the past week saying that he should be in the league. So kind of tell you where the players' minds are right now.
2 notes on the Saints. They've brought back John Kuhn, and Delvin Breaux is on IR. He's expected to return, though, as he recovers from a leg injury.
Delvin Breaux is a really, really good corner.
I do like Delvin Breaux.
I think
kid can play.
Him missing 6 to 8 to 10 games, however long he's going to be out, that's big for a Saints defense that has very little at that secondary position outside of a guy they just drafted in Marshawn Lattimore. So that's really bad for the Saints.
Again, folks, we're going to get to our power rankings here in just a few moments, so stay tuned. That's coming up in just a little bit here. Before we do that, though, Harris, I want to tell you about our presenting sponsor on today's show. They are sponsoring our power ranking segment here in just a little bit. It's Mizzen and Main. They make incredibly comfortable dress shirts for guys out of performance fabric, so it's like wearing an athletic gear, but it's a dress shirt. I mean, there's no ironing, no dry cleaning. These shirts are awesome. Head over to www.comfortable.af to check them out. And it is .af because they're comfortable as F.
I love those performance fabric shirts. And when I kind of heard about this company a couple months ago, when I heard that they made them in button-downs, I literally freaked out. I ran and bought 2 of them because that's an amazing concept. I'm all about it.
They are my go-to clubbing shirt.
Go-to clubbing
They're
shirt.
perfect for
Tom
that.
Downey, party machine. Let's go.
I hear it. And now to our NFC West roundup here, news and notes. The Cardinals signed Alex Boone and Andy Lee, a new guard and a new punter. Michael Bennett is now considering a lawsuit against Las Vegas police over the civil rights abuses. If you guys have the Chat Sports app, you saw some of that video via the push notifications. Get it today at chatsports.com/app. Not a good look for Las Vegas police there.
Not a good look for Las Vegas police. There are a lot of things swirling around about this. I'm sure we'll have all the information over the next couple of days.
Sheldon Richardson has been traded to the Seahawks. Aaron Donald has not yet reported to the Rams. We mentioned that earlier on in the show. So that's bad for the Rams.
Not great.
They can't afford to be without easily their best player. Easily their best player.
He might just be the best defensive player in all of football, and they're playing hardball with him because why? Like, I just don't understand what position the Rams think they're in to deny probably the best defensive tackle in the NFL what he rightfully deserves in a lot of ways. I mean, Von Miller was just given the biggest DN contract I think ever. Aaron Donald is almost that good.
He wants to pass it.
He wants
That's what
that.
he wants.
I think you should give it to him.
And then our final one, the Niners they released Jeremy Curley. He's now with the New York Jets. So
I'm triggered.
Interesting.
I'm triggered over Jeremy Curley. I don't know how many crossing patterns I have to see him take for 35 yards and run out of bounds. I'm triggered. I can't do it.
Once again, I'm Tom Downey. Alongside me, Harris Rubinstein. Producer Brett Scott is behind the scenes. And we want to tell you about our presenting sponsor for today's show, Mizzen and Main. Now, Harris, if you're like me, you want to change into your performance and athletic gear when you get home because it's the most comfortable thing that you have. You can now have that at the office with a Mizzen and Main dress shirt. They make these dress shirts out of performance fabrics, and they're so good they look like a regular dress shirt. We wear them and we love them. You don't have to worry about spelling the name right. Just go to www.comfortable.af. It's .af because it's comfortable as F. They have free shipping for returns. It's very easy. Check them out today.
No more cotton. Just think. You throw a cotton button down in the wash, you dry it, that thing's going to shrink up 3 times less the size. Throw one of these in the wash, you're totally fine.
I got my favorite green one at the Chat Sports Super Bowl party. They gave me one. I love it.
Oh, it's amazing.
Awesome
I'm jealous. I want free Mizzen and Main shirts. Grr.
All right, we will now head to our power rankings today here. We'll start from the bottom, work our way up to the top. And number 32, Harris, I don't think there's going to be a lot of argument over this.
I don't think there is any argument with this one. This is the worst team in football. This might be the worst team going into a season of football in years. It is the New York Jets. This team is barren. It is awful. Awful team that they are going into the season with. They have one good player on the whole team, and that's Leonard Williams.
Suck for Sam Darnold.
Absolutely. Or Josh Rosen, or Luke Falk, or Mark Jackson. I don't know.
Josh Allen, too. He didn't look great against Nebraska, but it's going to be a rough year for the Jets. You know, I think Bilal Powell is one bright spot.
Yep.
Christian Hackenberg, who was supposed to be the future, is now the number 3 QB on the depth chart. He is now behind Bryce Petty. And I've mentioned this on air before. If Bryce Petty is the answer to your question, you're asking a bad question.
You're asking a very bad question. Hackenberg, we all knew that Hackenberg was going to be this bad, though. His last 2 years at Penn State were just abysmal.
The first year, though, was so good.
It was
so
close
promising.
to being good, and then just it all went to nothing. And then they traded Sheldon Richardson to the Seahawks. I like Jermaine Kearse. It's a good tool for them. The second-round pick is really nice. They get rid of a troublemaker in their locker room, but Josh McCown is the starting quarterback, and that's about all you really need to know about the Jets.
My boy Matt Crozier got that one right. He's guessing here, and I appreciate that.
Right.
Up next, we'll head to number 31, and this is where I think it gets a little bit more cluttered because it's not quite as crystal clear as it was with, like, say, the Jets. The Niners are 31. It's a rebuilding year.
It is a rebuilding year.
I like the way they're building.
I do
but it's
too.
going to take time.
Their defense is going to be awesome. Well, not awesome, not in terms of production.
Youth awesome.
Yes, youth awesome. Like, they're going to make some crazy plays this year. Reuben Foster is my
boy.
pick. Is going to win defensive rookie of the year. Arik Armstead is going to have a great comeback season. DeForest Buckner was a monster last year. This defense is going to be fun. They're building something cool in San Francisco.
I love Foster. I thought he never should have slid as far as he did.
That was crazy.
It was the shoulder. It was
how
the shoulder
did
injury.
the Chargers take Mike Williams at 7 when the biggest need on their whole team was a middle linebacker? I don't understand. I don't get it.
Carlos Hyde then is entering a contract year. He's going to be the focal point of that offense, especially on the ground. We'll see how he fares in the Kyle Shanahan system.
Absolutely. I think the 49ers are going to be a fun team to watch this year. They're what I like to call an NBA League Pass team. They might not be very good, but they're going to be a fun team to watch this year, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
Head to number 30 here now on our power rankings. And again, folks, if you have disagreements, get them in the comments section. We can bring them up on air. This was a conglomeration of power rankings, so there were spots Harris thinks are too high and too low, and vice versa for me.
And we're going to look at the Cleveland Browns here. You and I are in agreement. DeShone Kizer, QB1.
QB1 in this year's draft.
That's
good. Where I had him ranked.
He's going to be so good for them. They made the right decision. Brock is out. Kizer is in. This is
going to be a lot of growing pains. He's still very raw. It's going to take some time. This is not going to be a great Browns team.
He's got good targets, which is actually
they'll be
surprising.
better. They'll be better than they were last year.
Absolutely.
But they're not going to the playoffs.
I'm sad to see Joe Hayden get cut, but just he's getting paid too much and hasn't played enough games over the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Heading now to the next team on our list, number 29. And Harris, I'm going to let you handle this one because this was one of your picks.
When Andrew Luck is not on the field and Andrew Luck is not starting for this team, this might just be the worst team in professional football.
I still think the Jets exist somewhere.
Andrew Luck is one of the few quarterbacks in the NFL that can take just a god-awful team and bring them to the playoffs no matter what. Probably the third or fourth best QB in football. Without him, the Colts are a pathetic roster. Vontae Davis is going to miss the first couple weeks of the season. Their best offensive lineman, Ryan Kelly, is going to miss the first weeks of the season. We don't know when Andrew Luck is going to play football again. They have nothing else. The best player in their offense is T.Y. Hilton, and you need to throw him the ball a lot in order for him to be good.
I don't think Luck is going to miss that much time. I think it's going to be three weeks at most. And I say that knowing full well that I accidentally ended up with a bunch of Colts on my fantasy team this year. But it was the right value.
No.
I got T.Y. Hilton in round 4. Round 4, you have to.
Okay, round 4 is
you
fine,
have to.
But the Colts
Dante
are so
Moncrief
bad.
in round 11, I had to.
The Colts are going to go 4-12 this year, 5-11, 3-13. Let's say if Andrew Luck plays, 8 games, even with how good Andrew Luck is,
if they play 8 games, then
maybe
they're screwed.
He might win
done.
3. They might win 3 with Andrew Luck. That's how bad.
I think they can get to 500 with Luck.
We'll
and that's
see.
kind of what I thought they were going to be.
Jack telling us reminds me of the Colts every year with Peyton. If you played them, they were top 10. Without them, they were bottom 5.
Exactly.
Yeah, look what happened when they didn't. When the last year that Peyton left, they got Andrew Luck. This year is going to be even worse.
Yeah. Head now to number 28 on our power rankings here, brought to you by Chat Sports in Mizzen and Maine. The Buffalo Bills come in at number 28. And
Buffalo Bills.
they're tanking. They're not circling the wagons this year. I think they're tanking.
Credit to Brandon Beane, their new GM, of coming in and being like, no nonsense. Everyone's out. Let's cut everyone. Let's get as many people off this team that cost money as we can. We'll keep LaShawn McCoy, and maybe we'll trade him mid-season for a crazy trade. But good on the Bills. It's time to rebuild. That whole team is a mess. I'm honestly kind of surprised they haven't traded Marcel Darius, but I don't think you can do anything with that contract.
That contract's too high. So McCoy and Taylor will be back for week 1. That's the offense in Buffalo. Jordan Matthews has his own injury problems. He should be fine, especially long term. It's a rebuilding year for Buffalo.
It's a 100% rebuilding year for Buffalo.
I'm sorry, Bills Mafia.
I'm actually kind of surprised they went 7-9 last year for what it's worth. So
I'm sorry.
Bills, rough year for the Bills.
Mm-hmm. Heading now to number 27 on our list, and it is the Jacksonville Jaguars, quarterbacked by Blake Bortles. Bortles. It's a confidence issue with him right now. He had no confidence. And you could tell on the field.
I think it's an everything issue. I just don't think he's very good. I don't think he's a starting level NFL quarterback. He might be a cool backup, but
they should have signed Kaepernick.
They should have. I know you're not wrong. It's just Chad Henne is going to come in. They have a good defense.
Their defense is really good.
It's funny.
It's a good young defense.
They're turning into the Texans. Slowly but surely.
I
they
was
going to
make that reference later on in the show.
They got the wide receiver. They got the defense. But they got Blake Bortles. So
Houston was a area of disagreement among us, and I was going to bring that up later on in the show. But that's Jacksonville checks in at number 27. Head now to number 26 on our rankings here, and it is the Rams of Los Angeles. I'm still getting a little bit used to that, but I got it right as of late. I haven't called the Chargers San Diego yet, so that's a plus.
I think the Rams defense is going to be rough this year, especially if Aaron Donald is on the field. Hot take. I think Jared Goff is going to have a pretty good year this year.
Define pretty good.
So pretty good. Okay. He's going to have a very good touchdown to interception ratio. At least one. He's going to throw at least 25 touchdowns this year. He has good receiving weapons. They have a left tackle in Andrew Whitworth who can actually, block. And Todd Gurley is going to have a better year this year than he did last year. Their defense is horrifyingly bad. But I think the offense could make waves this year. I think if you're the Rams, your goal is to be a mid-tier offense. Mid-tier offense. Sean McVay comes in. Goff will have better numbers. I think they're going to be the league average this year in offense.
Head now to number 25, and I saw many comments on here from Matt Crozier. Here are the Chicago Bears, Matt. They come in at 25th on the rankings. Harris, you were a little bit higher on them than me, so I will let you take this one.
I think the Bears are a very interesting team this year. Their defense is in flux. I think Leonard Floyd, the guy they got last year, is just an outstanding player on the defense side of the ball. Dealing with injuries, though. Pernell McPhee is going to be back this year, but it comes down to one guy and one guy only, and that's Mike Glennon, and also Kevin White. But I don't know. I trust Mike Glennon very little. Not as long as his neck, but not great.
I would have had the Bears a few spots lower. I do think we see Trubisky early on this year.
I agree.
I don't know how much longer Glennon will last. I mean, if he starts to struggle early, they'll just go with Trubisky. Unfortunately for Mr. John Fox, hot seat for him.
Is Mike Glennon not just Brock Osweiler 2.0? Like, is that not just is this not just repeated history?
Not as expensive.
It's just, like, by very little though. Like Mike Glennon, what's he getting paid this year? $15 million guaranteed?
Something like that.
This
contract gets much easier after that first year here. Once
great.
again, I'm Tom Downey alongside me, Harris Rubinstein. For those of you just joining us, let's run through the power rankings so far, presented by Mizzen and Main. The Jets at 32, the Niners at 31, the Browns at 30, the Colts take number 29, and then at number 28 are the Buffalo Bills. The Jaguars come in at 27th, the Rams at 26, and the Bears at 25. I might have swapped Bears and Colts, but that's just me.
That's fair. And I might.
There's always room for debate.
I have a little bit of extra disdain in my heart for the Colts, but that roster with no Andrew Luck or Vontae David or Ryan Kelly is just bad.
You think Luck's going to miss more time?
Yes, I do.
Head now to the 24th team on our power rankings, and no team, especially in the past few years, has been hit harder by injuries than the Baltimore Ravens. It's been brutal for them.
It's so sad. They have 10 players on the IR this year. That is
just unreal.
Rough. Have we ever seen, like, the Giants have had injury problems the past couple years, but I don't think we've ever seen anything like this before a season for a team. This is horrifying.
It's rough. Multiple starters, multiple players on IR for the entire season. It's a good defense, but it's a little old, and it's going to be up to Joe Flacco again, because I don't know how that ground game is going to fare.
Like we have on screen here, the offense will literally be put on Joe Flacco's back. Can he stay healthy? Can he complete passes to Rashad Perriman this year? They don't have a great running game. This is going to be a rough year for the Ravens. I think we might see a 4-win season from the Ravens, maybe a 5-win season. I'm not confident about the Ravens this year at all.
Is this going to end up being too high or too low for Baltimore in the end?
I honestly think,
or is it just right?
I think it's just right. I think they're going to end up being like 5-11 or maybe 6-10, but I don't think they get more than 6 wins this year.
Get to some comments, or to weigh in, and then maybe some comments. Should the Ravens have signed Colin Kaepernick? Look, I think many NFL teams should have already signed Colin Kaepernick, because at the very least, he's a really good NFL backup.
There's an interesting article
at the very least
the other day saying that if you sign Colin Kaepernick, you would need to change your whole offense around to build around him. And I don't really believe that. I think Kaepernick's a better thrower than a lot of people give him credit for. But should the Ravens have signed Colin Kaepernick, well, just go watch what Ryan Mallett did this preseason. Also known as basically looked like one of the worst quarterbacks in football.
Ryan Mallett looked terrible. I think the funny thing is I did a poll on Twitter about this, about Kaepernick, and it was a blind test of here's their completion percentage, how many yards they average per attempt, their TD to interception ratio. I had Kaepernick and Flacco in the same one. Flacco didn't get many votes. Kaepernick blew him out of the water.
Not great.
So I think there's a legitimate argument that Kaepernick might actually be better than Flacco. But no one wants to hear that.
Yeah, of course not.
So get your comments in, folks, about the weigh-in here. I am fully in favor of Kaepernick. I think he should have been a starter already. I think he should have. Jacksonville should have signed him. Dallas should have signed him. Seattle should have signed him. All of these teams needed a reliable backup quarterback, and they went with bumps.
I think Seattle would have been an unbelievable fit.
It was a perfect fit.
Who's the backup QB now? They cut Boykin. I don't even know who's there anymore. And
Austin Davis had signed earlier this year. Austin Davis, folks.
Look, I think the Seattle offensive line is probably going to be one of the three or four worst offensive lines in football. Russell Wilson goes down, their season's over. If they have Colin Kaepernick on their team, they might honestly make it to a playoff game, especially with that defense.
The Niners to the Super Bowl.
Exactly. So take it what you will.
All right. So that was number 24 on our list, the Baltimore Ravens. We're actually going to stay in the same division here for number 23. And we will head to the Cincinnati Bengals. And the way I look at this is the offensive weapons, Eifert, Green, John Ross when he's healthy, Joe Mixon, even Jeremy Hill and Gio Bernard. The offense with Andy Dalton is talented, but the offensive line is bad. And they lost their two best players off a bad offensive line. So you're banking on Jake Fisher and Cedric Ogbuehi to take a big step forward that they didn't show last year.
This is a team that I think this year could probably end up in the in the high teens or low teens, 19, 18, 17, whatever high or low you want to call it. But this is also a team that could end up in the mid-20s to low 20s again, 26, 27, based off of what happens with that offensive line. Because if Dalton can't actually have time to throw the ball down the field to an A.J. Green or to a John Ross, this team is dead. Not to mention, prediction, their defense is going to be a lot worse than it was last year. This is an old defense.
Earlier in the year, they're going to really miss Tez.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's a huge blow to that defense. Joe Mixon is listed as the number 3 running back, but he's going to play plenty. That's the depth chart thing coaches do.
If you want to judge players based off their character, then Joe Mixon won't be a very good player. But in terms of judging it based off of how he's as a football player,
he can play.
That kid's going to be a special running back. He's going to be really good. They made a great pick with him, but he's going to have nothing to run behind. Yeah. He's just going to get sacked every 2 to 3 yards. Not good.
Head now to number 22 on our power rankings. If you're just joining us, folks, we will kind of loop through these and show you the recent power rankings. But at number 22, the New Orleans Saints. The offense, top 5. The defense, bottom 5.
Oh, just like every single year. Oh, great. It sounds awesome.
Delvin Breaux, he's on IR. Nick Fairley's not playing this year. They didn't really address the defensive end spot across from Cam Jordan outside of some mid to late draft picks. The defense isn't going to be very good. Nope. They're going to score a lot. They're going to be fun for fantasy, but the defense is going to cause problems.
Michael Thomas is going to be super fun to watch on that offense this year, but I'm watching one guy only on the Saints defense. That's the first-round pick, Marshawn Lattimore out of Ohio State. I think that this was easily the best covered corner in the draft. I think he's going to do a lot of things for that Saints defense. But one rookie corner is not enough to take you from one of the worst defenses in football to even mid-tier. So they got a long way to go.
Head now to number 21 on our power rankings here. The Saints just came in at number 22. This one was not a huge debate among us, but the Miami Dolphins check in at 21st. I would have them a little bit higher, but the concerns with I think the offense is an issue. I do agree that they will step back from last year's 10-6 mark.
We don't know what's going to be.
Sorry, Anthony Holder.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to see with Jay Cutler this year. He might be great. Who really knows? But
he's going to be Cutler.
I don't like their defense. I think their defensive line is very shaky. They don't have a great D tackle in the middle outside of Sue. Sue's been great, but they double team him a lot. Opens up stuff for Cameron Wake. But the other half of that defensive line is rough. They have their best linebacker on the team is, I think it's still Kiko Alonso, which not great at all.
Raekwon McMillan, their second-round pick, got hurt for the year.
Got hurt, which again
Big
sucks
loss.
because Raekwon McMillan, again, outstanding player at Ohio State. This Dolphins defense, I think, is going to be a lot worse than people think.
And that's fair. Let's go ahead and take you guys through all the power ranking teams so far presented by Mizzen and Main. The Jets are 32nd, Niners are 31st, then the Browns and the Indianapolis Colts round out the bottom 4 teams. The Bills come in at number 28 on our rankings, the Jags at 27, the Rams at 26, the Bears at number 25, and then we'll head into from 24 and on with the Ravens at 24, the Bengals at 23, the Saints at 22, and the Dolphins at number 21. And that takes you through all the rankings that we've gotten through so far.
I think we're on point here. I think we're pretty accurate with what we're looking at. Maybe a couple teams, a couple places higher, but I think for the most part, nothing too egregious yet.
I hope so. We agreed to these, so we should be agreeing that they're right. Once again, I'm Tom Downey. Alongside me, Harris Rubinstein. Producer Brett Scott is behind the scenes, making it all look pretty. We'll head now into the top 20, and at number 20, a very contentious team among our experts here. The Los Angeles Chargers come in at number 20. Harris, I will let you start.
I think that this Los Angeles Chargers team is one of the most underrated teams in all of football because I think their defense is going to be incredibly, incredibly good this year. Melvin Ingram on a new contract, Joey Bosa with a full 16 games. Their secondary last year was one of the best in the entire NFL. They have 2 outstanding corners with Casey Hayward and Jason Brown on the other side. Their offensive line is shaky. I'll give it to you. But They have so many weapons for Phillip Rivers this year. Mike Williams is going to actually play this year. Keenan Allen is healthy. Tyrell Williams was outstanding last year when Keenan went down. Hunter Henry, Gates is still playing. And, oh, yeah, they still have Melvin Gordon, who's been a great running back since he's come out of college the past couple of years. If this offensive line can hold it together for 10 games, 11 games, 12 games, this is going to be a double-digit win football team. 100%.
I want to believe in the Chargers. I want to believe that they can stay healthy, but they've already had the injuries. Denzel Perryman, Mike Williams, we haven't seen anything from him yet, so he's completely way behind the curve right now. Dan Feeney is out for the year.
Yep.
So if everything goes perfectly, yeah, LA can finish much higher.
Right.
I don't think the odds are that great.
It sucks because they drafted 2 guards because they don't have guards. They got Dan Feeney and Forrest
And they
Lamp.
cut one, and then one got hurt.
And now they're gone. Now they're hurt.
So reaction poll that we can bring up for you guys here, namely is this the right spot more or less for the Chargers? Should they be higher? Should they be lower? I would have had them a little bit lower. I want to believe in them, but I don't think this is. I think 20 is a little bit on the optimistic side of things, closer to their ceiling. You had them higher. You had them much higher.
I honestly had them as in the top half of the NFL this year. They're the only thing holding them back this year from being one of the best teams in the AFC is that their division they're in the AFC West, which in my opinion is probably the best division in football right now between the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Broncos, and the Chargers. I think this Chargers team is going to get 10 wins, and I think they actually steal the second wild card spot away from. I originally had the Dolphins getting it. I'm going to give it to the Chargers now, just because I don't know what you're going to get out of Cutler.
No respect for Denver. No respect.
We'll
get to them. We will get to them later on in the show. In the meantime, here we will head into our number 19 team, and this 20 through 16 range, I think, was much debated amongst us. At number 19 is the Washington Redskins. The future of Kirk Cousins, a giant question mark. They're kind of retooling the offense after Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garçon leave. I think they'll be another borderline playoff team. I think all these teams in this range here, by the way, folks, and once you get inside the top 25 even, these are potential playoff teams. And that's kind of what we saw last year.
Yeah, exactly.
The parity in the NFL reigns supreme.
This just smells like a 9-7 football team.
That's what they've been.
Yeah, and that's what they're going to be. I just don't think they've made any overwhelming changes to the team. They lost half their receiving core and then replaced it with a bunch of guys who were probably equal what their receiving core did last year. So it's not like they're going to just wake up and be an amazing defense again. I don't know. I think this team is still going to have trouble winning big games.
Again, today's segment is brought to you by Mizzen & Main. That's today's NFL Power Ranking segment. They make incredibly comfortable dress shirts for guys made out of performance fabrics, which means no ironing and no dry cleaning. Makes your life easier. These shirts are really awesome. Head over to www.comfortable.af to check them out. That is a real website. That's not a fake one. That's the website there, www.comfortable.af.
I love the website name. I can't get over it. Comfortable.af. Go there. It's a great website, great layout, great design. I'm all about these shirts. I got to buy myself some more of these anyway.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to NFL Daily in today's NFL Power Rankings segment. I'm Tom Downey. Alongside me, Harris Rubinstein. Producer Brett Scott behind the scenes. We'll head now to number 18 on our Power Rankings here, almost halfway through it. At number 18, a bit of a contentious team, the Houston Texans. Check in at number 18.
I don't know why we have this Houston Texans team so low.
I don't know why we have them so high.
They're going to be so good.
They're not going to be so good.
All right, if the Titans tighten out, who else is going to win this division?
No one wins the division.
This is a double-digit win team.
This is not a double-digit win team.
They have an easier schedule this year than they did last year in terms of win percentage.
Well, you mentioned that schedule.
J.J. Watt is fully healthy.
They had a bottom 7 point differential. The defense was good last year, and they get J.J. Watt back. Yeah, the defense is going to be good. But as we kind of hinted at earlier, what truly separates this team from the Jacksonville Jaguars? You're going to say quarterback?
It's J.J. Watt and the fact that they also have, they have a good offensive line. If Dwayne Brown actually plays.
The tackle spot concerns me because Dwayne Brown is not showing up yet. And right tackle Derek Newton
He's a
is
mystery.
hurt.
It's fair.
So, and Chris Clark was not good last year. So the tackle spot genuinely concerns me.
You're 100% correct. And I kind of base this off of
Dwayne
them
Brown
figuring
returning?
out the Dwayne Brown thing. Because if they figure out the Dwayne Brown thing, this is a playoff team, 100%. But if Dwayne Brown misses 6 games, 7 games, 8 games, they're done.
I had them way lower on our power rankings. I think this perhaps maybe one of the NFL teams like the Dolphins maybe. No team is more primed for regression this year than Houston, based on the win-loss record.
I think that they are the league average football team, which means that they could either be much better than the league average or worse than league average. But either way, I'd have them at exactly 16.
That's what average means. Thank
right
you for
at league
explaining
average.
us, Matt.
Yeah, I know. Right at league average. I'd have them right at 16.
Quarterback concerns me because Tom Savage still searching for that first NFL TD pass.
But they have the answer. They have Deshaun
It's not
Watson.
Deshaun Watson's not the answer.
Yes, he
He's
is.
not- no, he's not the answer.
Yes, he is.
He's not the answer.
He's a gamer.
I don't.
We had this discussion on our NFL Draft Show.
We're not going to get off on a tangent. We just disagree on quarterback. We will head to number 17 on our power rankings here.
do it.
I don't want to spend too much time talking about the Houston Texans. At number 17, a team with the answer at quarterback, the
Fair.
Philadelphia
Touche.
Eagles. Carson Wentz, who I love, by the way.
Carson Wentz is going to have a great season too. I know I have him as kind of a question mark in just a lot of ways because you never know what's going to be a
He's
sophomore
young
slump,
and he's still developing.
I love that they gave him a big time target in Alshon Jeffrey. I love their defense taking a big step forward this year. I think Fletcher Cox is going to lead one of the best defensive lines in all of football between him and Brandon Graham. I think this Philadelphia Eagles team is prime time for either a double-digit win season or at least an increase in a 7-9 season last year.
I'm curious to see which Eagles team we get, the one that started and closed hot or the one that was awful in the middle. I think it'll be a little bit more balanced. I think the Eagles, they remind me of where the Bucs and Titans were last year and where Oakland was 2 years ago. They're in the right direction, but give me one more year for
Exactly.
them.
I totally agree.
Give me another year for them to take the big step forward.
If they get really hot at the end of the year, we might see them sneak into that number 2 wild
with
card
Bucs,
spot.
Titans, and Raiders in the past. And
Might see them sneak in. But, again, that division is tough.
We'll run you through the power rankings. For those of you just now joining us, again, these are presented by Mizzen and Main. The Jets, Niners, Browns, and Colts are your bottom 4, followed by the Bills, the Jags, the Rams, and the Bears, rounding out 28 through 25. The Ravens are 24, Bengals 23, then the Saints and the Miami Dolphins. And that takes us into the top 20 with the Chargers, the Redskins, the Houston Texans, and the Philadelphia Eagles. Once again, I'm Tom Downey. Alongside me, Harris Rubinstein here. We're going to get here to the top 16 as we've reached the halfway point here now. Let's get to number 16 here on our NFL Power Rankings. At number 16, and a team that I fully admit I do kind of disrespect a little bit, the Detroit Lions. And Lions fans have criticized me many a time, and I feel a little bit bad because they're a good team. I just don't know if they're a playoff team this year. So I'm sorry.
They're just kind of. I'm sorry, Lions. They're just kind of there this year. Like, Matt Stafford will put up nice numbers, but, I mean, I don't, like, is this team really going to beat the Packers twice? Is this team really going to show up against the NFC East teams? Like, I just don't see the Lions, making a huge push.
Injuries up front, they could very well finish below this, and I think the Lions are in a similar spot to the Bengals not that long ago, where I don't love Jim Caldwell as head coach. I didn't love Marvin Lewis as head coach.
I don't know how Jim Caldwell has a job.
They got these 2 great coordinators sitting there.
I think
Jim Bob Cooter and Terrell Austin.
I think the Lions are looking at a high-quality 8-8 season.
I think that's fair.
Yep.
We will stick, though, in the NFC North for the number 15 team on our rankings. It is the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm just saying this, Harris, all right? I'm not saying this is going to happen.
Okay.
But remember the 2015 Falcons? They started the year 5-0, then they fell apart and missed the playoffs, and then last year they rebounded in a very large way and should have won the Super Bowl. Just saying the Vikings had the exact same thing happen to them last year.
I'm
just saying history tends to repeat itself.
If Laquan Treadwell can actually catch a football for the first time in his NFL career and they actually let him play, this Vikings team could be a lot of fun. I'm worried, though, that they're not going to give Dalvin Cook enough carries this year that he really needs. Latavius Murray is good, but Dalvin Cook is way better. Dalvin Cook is going to be a stud in this league.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, and we'll see how the offensive line fares. That's important as well.
Absolutely.
A totally rebuilt offensive line. Head down to the top 14, and at number 14, another bit of a debate team that we have between Harris and myself and some of the other Chat Sports members, The Denver Broncos, I caved and kept them at 14. I thought that they should have been higher. I thought they were a better team than 14th overall.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think we actually missed one here. I think the Cardinals we had at 14.
No. Broncos at 14.
Cardinals at 14.
Cardinals at 13.
Okay. I like this Cardinals team. Oh, excuse me. I like this.
I was right. No, you were right. It's
Cardinals
Cardinals at 14.
Oh, that's okay.
That's my fault, folks.
No, it's totally fine because the Cardinals, again, are kind of a team that are they're kind of a toss-up. Like Carson Palmer, he's, 37 years old, 38 years old. John Brown is going to miss the first couple games of the season. Fitzgerald is super old. I don't know. I think this Cardinals team with no Calais Campbell on the defensive side of the ball.
Their point differential said they should have been better last year.
That's
they
very
lost
true.
a ton of close games.
Very true. But I'm worried that they haven't done enough this past offseason because all they did was give Chandler Jones a huge contract, which I don't know if he entirely deserved. He's one of the best.
Someone was going to give it to him.
He's one of the best defensive ends in football for the first 8 games of the season. The last 8 games of the season, he's a ghost. So we'll see about the Cardinals this year.
Now we'll head to number 13, and I've already ruined this because I messed up the order on my script. So now we have the Denver Broncos, a team that I thought should have been top 10.
That's fair. I'll give you this one.
We
Why?
split the difference for the most part. Because this is an amazing defense. Everything you said about Houston, you put for Denver, only they have a better quarterback and better offensive pieces.
I don't know if Trevor Siemian can ever be listed as a better quarterback
than Tom Savage? Yes, I do.
Trevor Siemian to me is just he doesn't add anything
He's
to
not
anything.
Great. But Siemian has actually thrown an NFL touchdown pass.
That's fair. That's totally fair. I don't like the fact that they don't have a featured runner. I don't like
It's C.J. Anderson.
I don't like the running back by committee on this team. And I think
Anderson's going to get the ball to the work if he's healthy.
I think losing T.J. Ward is going to be a big loss for this defense.
That was a bit of a surprise.
Outstanding this
He's not great in coverage.
entire Denver career.
He's great in the box. I want to say this as well. I can't wait for Brock Osweiler to get a start for Denver and look competent in the process.
Amen to that one. Amen to that.
That's going to happen.
We'll see.
That is going to happen.
I could be totally wrong about the Broncos, but that record you see on the screen of 9-7, I think they replicate it. If not 8-8.
And I think that could even put them above 13. Either way, we have a reaction poll here because we want to get your guys' thoughts as well of where would you guys rank the Broncos? You think they should be higher? Should they be lower? Or is this about right? I would put them higher. Denver's a good team.
I would put them lower. I just don't see how this team beats good teams on the offensive side of the ball. What is different about this year's offense than last year's? They haven't added anything. They didn't change coordinators. It's still an NFL offense led by C.J. Anderson and Trevor Siemian. I mean, it's not going to win you anything.
They got some good receivers, and the defense is great.
They do have good receivers, but I don't know.
Didn't you have Houston above Denver in your initial ones that I'd argue with and flip it?
I did. I had them because I feel something about the Texans this year. And also, they're in a way, way worse division. The AFC West is going to eat the Broncos alive this year.
It's a loaded division. We'll head now, though, into the top 12 of our power rankings. These aren't technically the playoff teams because the numbers don't work out. The math is wrong there. But at number 12 are the Carolina Panthers. My question is, Harris, which Panthers team do we get? The 15-1 team or the 6-10 team?
We're going to get whatever team Matt Khalil allows this team to get because this entire team is going to revolve around whether or not he can actually play left tackle.
He can't.
He can't. That's the problem.
I've seen it. He can't. He can't play left tackle.
Not going to be able to do it, people. This Panthers team.
And to pay him $55 million.
I don't know where that happened. I don't know where that came from. This Panthers team is either going to be really, really good or really, really bad.
Maybe it'll vary from week to week and they'll finish around 500.
Yeah, it's just I want this Panthers team to be good. I want Christian McCaffrey to be a boss. I want Curtis Samuel to have a lot of fun, just like he did at Ohio State.
I'm curious as to how they'll use Samuel McCaffrey. The weapons indicate, hey, shorter passes, but Newton's got that arm.
Oh, the best
power arm.
Second best pure deep throwing arm in the NFL behind Andrew Luck, because that man throws magical rainbows from another planet. So I'm all about it.
We'll head now to number 11 on our power rankings here. We're going to stick in the NFC South for this one. Quite a few NFC South teams here near the top, which shouldn't be a huge surprise. At number 11, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like this Bucs team, and they remind me of where the Raiders were this time last year. Like, they didn't make the playoffs, but I think they'll take a step forward, and they'll be a borderline playoff team. I think that will make the playoffs.
And I think just like the Raiders were last year, this Bucs team is probably going to be one of the most volatile, if not the most volatile teams in the NFL. The Raiders last year won 9 single-digit games.
Great games.
Great games,
Thrilling
for sure.
games.
I think the Bucs are going to have something similar. Last year, they had a real problem winning close games and beating good teams. This team now adds Deshaun Jackson, added T.J. Ward a couple days ago. Outstanding addition for that defense. This Bucs team is going to be really good for years to come. I think this is the year that launches them. I think they could end up winning their division if the Falcons start to falter.
I think that's a popular dark horse pick right now.
Absolutely.
Bucs overtake the Falcons and they finish, top 6 team or whatever
Also,
in the NFL.
big year for Jameis Winston. This is always the year in a quarterback's progression where they either take that big step or they just kind of start to muddle around.
He's got to cut down on the interceptions.
Absolutely.
I think he does that this year. Heading out to number 10 on our power rankings, I think a team in a similar spot.
I love it.
The Tennessee Titans.
Yay.
This is a young, talented team. Marcus Mariota at quarterback. I love him. They got him some shiny new toys.
Yes.
Corey Davis, Trent Taylor, DeMarco Murray still there. Eric Decker signed as well. The defense, I think, is trending in the right direction. I don't think they're a Super Bowl threat yet, but I think they win the AFC South. I don't think it's that close.
Bold. I've said this on the our draft show a couple months ago. I think that Corey Davis is going to be the next Andre Johnson. I think he is a complete stud. I think he's the number one wideout that the Titans have been waiting for a very long time. I think this Titans team is going to be a lot of fun. Though, it's really cool. Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota come from the same draft, and here we are, both teams. Very, very, very similar situations in different conferences. That's what you want to see out of the number 1 and number 2 picks out of any respective draft.
And inside the top 10 now to number 9 on our list, and this is the New York Football Giants. And the questions about Odell Beckham as to if he'll be able to play Week 1, my gut says he will. He's a competitor he likes to play. The main concern about me for the New York Giants, and it's remained a concern for some time, the offensive line is not good.
The offensive line is awful.
Eric Flowers has been a turnstile at left tackle. Bobby Hart is not any better at right tackle. It was so strange to me because they spent all of last offseason trying to get another tackle. They tried to convince Eugene Monroe to sign. He decided to retire. They tried to draft Taylor Decker. They missed out on him. And then this offseason, they had chances. They had several chances in free agency. And in the draft, they passed on multiple tackles, and they went, we're fine. Yeah, which didn't make sense to me.
And then they drafted Evan Ingram, who I think is going to be a great NFL pro. It's just he's not a great blocker, which they need, and he's a dynamic receiver, which they already have. So I think this Giants team, it's going to go by their defense. If they can replicate what they did last year, this is going to be a wild card team. But if their defense falters a little bit, I do not trust Eli Manning this year. I do not. That man is going to get crushed behind that offensive line.
Well, we will take you through all the teams ranked thus far. The Jets at 32, the Niners at 31, and the Browns at Colts at 39 and 29, respectively. At number 28, the Buffalo Bills, followed by the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Los Angeles Rams at 26, and the Chicago Bears at number 25. The Ravens came in at 24, followed by the Bengals, the Saints, and then the Miami Dolphins. And then into the top 20, the Chargers, the Redskins, the Houston Texans at 18, and the Philadelphia Eagles at number 17. The Detroit Lions are at 16, the Minnesota Vikings at number 15, the Cardinals on a run of NFC teams at 14, the Denver Broncos then took the number 13 spot, and then our last 4 teams, the Panthers at 12, the Bucks at 11, the Titans at 10, the Giants at number 9. Again, that is presented by Mizzen and Main. Everyone check out Mizzen and Main, the performance dresser that you don't have to iron. Head over to www.comfortable.af. That's not a typo. That's the website name, Comfortable AF, because it's comfortable as F.
Oh, yeah.
Check it out today.
We may disagree about the Denver Broncos, but we do not disagree about how comfortable those shirts are. 100%.
Very true. Head now here into the top 8 of our power rankings. I think we've with the Giants especially, we've reached what I consider kind of the Super Bowl teams to an extent.
I think so.
The Chiefs, with Alex Smith back at quarterback, we'll see how he fares. And how long he remains the quarterback. He's no longer the long-term option there.
No.
That is clearly Patrick Mahomes. Spencer Ware is out for the season, but that's okay. Kareem Hunt is in charge.
Kareem Hunt, that's that guy.
I love Kareem Hunt.
I'm all about this Chiefs team. I think that they're going to be a very fun team to watch this year. Obviously, we'll see them
Kareem
tomorrow
Hunt's my
night.
guy.
Yeah.
Producer Brett Scott's shaking his head at me for no reason here, and he doesn't like Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's going to do great. Andy Reid loves a workhorse. I try to get Kareem Hunt in all my fantasy drafts this year. Get Kareem Hunt.
This Chiefs team is going to be good, though I'm slightly worried about their pass rush. Slightly worried about it. Because I think we're going to see Justin Houston this year, who obviously coming off of the injury-plagued season last year. We don't know what's going to happen with him this year.
I think he'll be better now.
I think they'll be good. I like Chris Jones, the guy that got out of Mississippi State a couple years ago.
DT.
This will be a good team. It's just, are they going to be better than the Raiders? That's what it comes down to.
The question here is, if Alex Smith struggles, how long can the Chiefs keep Mahomes on the bench? You sit him for a year. He's not ready.
Yeah,
he's just not ready.
I think that Mahomes at this point is going to have it's going to have a lot of problems if he was just thrown into the starting lineup here. But Patrick Mahomes, for the most part, was the best player we saw in preseason. I think of any rookie coming into this year, he was the best player we saw in preseason. He dynamic throws on the run, unbelievable deep ball, ability to make plays with his legs, everything you want out of a modern day quarterback, and not to mention everything that we saw out of him in Texas Tech. This is who he is.
He's a gunslinger.
He's a gunslinger.
He's a
and
gunslinger.
The best kind of player. I think the Chiefs made the right pick. Watch out, people. I think that if you see Alex Smith start to struggle, what if they go 3-3 the first game? What if they go 3-5 over the first 8? You're going to start to hear the whispers. But
you're going to hear them from the fans almost instantly.
I think we're going to go.
You're already hearing some of that.
I'm going to think we're going to go with the wow face here. I do not think that Patrick Mahomes sees the starting lineup this year simply because they owe it to Alex Smith. They really do. They owe it to him in order to give him this last season.
The offseason has not been very kind to Alex Smith.
Very true.
We're not going to help you win this year. We're going to trade up and get our future quarterback, and then we're going to cut our top receiver.
Yeah, not great.
Not nice to Alex Smith.
Not great.
Again, folks, you can get your reaction polls in there. Once again, I'm Tom Downey. Alongside me, Harris Rubinstein. We head now to the top 7 of today's NFL Power Rankings, the last one of the NFL preseason. And at number 7 is the Dallas Cowboys. And I had to talk you into putting them a little bit higher. Why only 7 for you?
I think their defense is going to be a lot worse than people give them credit for. They have one person in the whole secondary that's worth anything, and that's Byron Jones.
Do not insult Orlando Scanners like that, but yes.
Fair enough. But on the most part, the great thing about this defense this year is going to be Jalen Smith. Seeing him back out in the field is going to be awesome. If he can turn into an impact player, great for them. But missing Zeke for 6 games, going up against a lot of tough defenses in the NFC East. The NFC this year in general is incredibly tough. They are going up against the Packers this year. They're going up against the Seahawks this year. It's a rough schedule. And the Falcons and the rest of the NFC East twice. This is a rough schedule for the Cowboys. If you're telling me they're only going to lose 3 games, I think we might see them lose a little bit closer to 5. I think 11-5 is unfortunately where this Cowboys team will be just because their schedule is impossible.
I think that's fair. I think they could still put them higher than 7th overall at the end of the season, but I think that's fair. I think this is about as low as they should be.
And we'll see why they're a little bit lower, just mostly because the teams ahead of them, they honestly have easier schedules than the Cowboys do this year.
Heading out to number 6 on our power rankings, on a team that I thought should have been higher. There was a little bit of disagreement here near the top of our power rankings. But at number 6, we have the Oakland Raiders.
I think the Oakland Raiders are going to be really good this year, but it all comes down to one thing. Who's going to cover the middle of the field on that defense? They have no good linebackers. They just lost their second round pick.
I can't believe they haven't re-signed Perry Riley yet.
I'm a little sad that they lost Obi, their second round pick out of Melifonwu. I'm sad that they lost him out of UConn, but he should be back in the middle of the year. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
I already returned, most likely.
Yes. So this defense will be really good. The secondary plus the defensive line is good. The linebackers are really bad, but
the defense, I don't know that's going to be very good.
We'll see.
It was bad last year.
It's going to get a lot of sacks. They're going to get a lot of sacks.
We said that last year, and they didn't get any sacks because it was Khalil Mack, Bruce Irvin, and nobody else.
That's fair.
The defense is what worries me about this team. The offense, I think, is going to be great.
I think they pulled together this year. I think this team actually is going to win the AFC West just because I think the Chiefs are going to have a little bit of problems on offense with no feature back. I know I love Kareem Hunt too, but trusting a rookie running back out of the 3rd round, you can't give them that much. I think this Oakland Raiders team, plus, we haven't even brought up the fact that, Marshawn Lynch is going to be running behind the best offensive line in football.
I mean, let's chill a little bit on the Marshawn Lynch, pump those brakes, because he hasn't played in over a year.
But it doesn't matter.
The last time we saw him, he wasn't good.
Latavius Murray almost dropped 1,000 yards.
Because he ran the ball a bunch. He had 4 yards a carry.
I think that you give Marshawn Lynch the best offensive line in football. It doesn't matter how long he hasn't played for. He's going to put up yards.
We'll see.
Double-digit touchdowns this year for Marshawn Lynch.
I won't argue that.
Double-digit.
I won't argue that because he's going to get all the goal line carries.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And also, Amari Cooper. Awesome. This is the year.
Yes.
This is the year he turns into one of the 5 or 6 best receivers in football. I'm ready for it. I can't wait.
All right, top 5 time now here as we move into the final 5 teams, some of the top Super Bowl threats, and the team that should have won it last year. They had it. I'm sorry, Falcons fans. I'm sorry.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda, but
five.
didn't. 28-3, ladies and gentlemen. 28-30.
I think there almost has to be regression here.
Yep.
Like that's just like after being so good last year, a unprecedented offensive pace that it isn't really replicable.
Yeah.
They will regress a little bit, but this is as low as they should go because this is still a very good team.
And big prediction here. I don't even know if this is a hot take. Matt Ryan is not going to put up MVP numbers this year. And fun fact, if you look at the rest of Matt Ryan's career, his statistics are actually pretty equivalent to Andy Dalton's. So we'll see what happens with Matt Ryan this year. Julio Jones is going to be unbelievable if his foot can actually, work. But we'll see. This whole team revolves around Matt Ryan. We'll see.
I mean, we'll give you another loop here of all the power rankings so far. The Jets, Niners, Browns, and Colts are your bottom 4. Then it's the Bills, Jags, Rams, and Bears, followed up by the Ravens, Bengals, Saints, and Dolphins. Top 20 starts with the Chargers, Redskins, Texans, and the Eagles. At 16 is the Detroit Lions, the Minnesota Vikings, the Arizona Cardinals, and the Denver Broncos. Then the top 12, the Panthers, the Bucks, the Titans, the Giants, and then inside your top 8 as well here. The Chiefs, the Cowboys, the Raiders, and the Falcons. I already saw one hater comment towards me about the Oakland Raiders. I'm sorry, your defense was not good last year.
Marshawn Lynch.
I still think you're going to win the AFC West. So
yes, that's
if
they're definitely a playoff.
If 6 is being a hater, then I guess I'm a hater.
Take it.
We'll head now here into our final 4 teams. At number 4, one of our second to last AFC team, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Pittsburgh Steelers. What's going to happen this year with that defense? We don't know, but the offense is horrifyingly good.
All depends.
Scary.
Everything on the Steelers season depends on the health of Ben Roethlisberger.
100%.
Because if he gets hurt, as he has pretty much every year, they're going to have issues in those games. If he's
and
healthy, they will have. If he's healthy for all 16 games, he's done like 3 times in his career. They might very well be the number 1 seed in the AFC.
They very well could.
They could
I don't think that's a gross hot take, but I also think you look at the defensive side of the ball. Artie Burns last year in his first year as their number 1 corner. Up and down, very inconsistent. They had Joe Hayden, who big name, not so much, has not really been that player on the field. So this Steelers team is honestly, it's kind of a toss-up, but they still have Le'Veon Bell. They still have Antonio Brown. Martavis Bryant is going to play. They have a good tight end core, and they have a great offensive line. This Steelers team is going to be the number 1 or number 2 seed in the AFC. No question.
Head down to the number 3 team on our power rankings, the first of 2 NFC teams. The Green Bay Packers check in at number 3. Aaron Rodgers is going to do Aaron Rodgers things. He's going to be an amazing quarterback. He's going to do things that most people can't do. The main concern is the secondary. It was pretty bad
100%.
last year. It cost them a Super Bowl chance because if they had a good secondary, they would have gotten past Atlanta.
Yep.
Who knows what happens against Patriots then? But the secondary needs to be better. They're healthy. They've added some pieces like Devon House. They've added some new front 4 players like Ahmad Brooks and Quentin Dial. I think this is at least the top 3 team in the NFL.
Aaron Rodgers, like I said before, is on the warpath. This man is coming for blood. He is coming for a Super Bowl. The defense is finally primed to actually force turnovers and give him the ball back. They're going to get some sacks. They might actually intercept a pass. Whoa, watch out, Packers. This is going to be a really good football team. I have this team on the hot course for the Super Bowl.
Heading out to our top 2, and I'm going to let you take number 2 because I did not agree with this at all. This is too high.
This Seattle Seahawks team has maybe, just maybe, the best on-paper defense going into a season in 3 decades. This defense has 8 potential All-Pros on it. Not to mention, this is Russell Wilson going into his age 28 season. This honestly should be the year that Russell Wilson makes his biggest charge for an MVP trophy. They have weapons all over the place for him. They finally have running backs who can catch the ball out of the backfield. Thomas Rawls, you add in C.J. Prosise on a full healthy season. Jimmy Graham is fully healthy. Their wide receivers are primed for a big-time season. Paul Richardson, full 16 games hopefully this year. But that offensive line is pathetic.
Yeah.
It's pathetic. I'll admit it. But their defense is going to be good enough.
Get your comments in here, folks. I think this is too high, too low, or just right for Seattle. I think we're going to see more too highs because most of these guys aren't Seahawks fans. I think this might be the best roster in the NFL, except for the offensive line.
Fair.
Perhaps the most important part. This offensive line is terrible.
It's bad.
They can't block anyone. Russell Wilson is going to get destroyed again this year. I can't try. And if he goes down, season's over. Wrap it up. phone it in, tank for a high draft pick.
I just think that if you're the Seahawks, and look, if any team in the NFL could afford to have a bad offensive line and still succeed, it's the Seahawks.
And they've done it the past 2 years, and look where it's gotten them.
It's got them to the playoffs.
A not top 2 team.
That's fair. That's fair. But this defense was already the best in the NFL. And oh yeah, then they added Sheldon Richardson, who's one of the best defensive linemen in football.
When he tries.
That's fair. That's fair. But you're going to tell me that Michael Bennett and Cliff Averill aren't going to kick his butt into gear? I think this Seattle team is going to be unbelievable.
We may have started a war in the comment section here over Seattle. Mike thinks they're way too high. I think they should have been more like 5 or 6.
I think they're number 2. I think this Seattle Seahawks team should honestly be, they're on a crash course to meet up with the Patriots in the Super Bowl. We have a rematch of 2014 coming up.
We have the Seahawks haters on my side.
That's fair. But I find it hard to look at the teams in the NFC and say, you are better. Because if you want to go head-to-head and say, oh, we're going to take the Falcons and have them go.
There's a huge war now.
Yeah.
We've made a mistake in the comment section.
If you're going to say, oh, I'm going to face this team against the Seattle Seahawks, how are they going to win? How are they going to score against this defense? This defense is going to average 10 points a game, 12 points a game. I think the Seattle Seahawks team is going to be great.
You guys have been great in the comments section today. Thank you all for getting your comments in. Keep those going throughout the shows.
They play in the worst division in football. They're gonna win what? I don't know, 6 games without even trying? The Cardinals are iffy.
You said that
the 49ers are bad.
The Rams always give them issues.
The Rams always give them issues.
The Rams will probably beat them once again this year, like they always do.
If they don't have Aaron Donald,
Fair.
if they don't have Aaron Donald, they're not going to beat anybody.
All right, well, this one we were in agreement on, Harris, and I think if there is a consensus, it's this one here,
yeah.
The New England Patriots at number 1. I think I speak for many in the comments section. I don't like this. This gets a little boring to me. It's always the Patriots. It's like Alabama in college football. Like, how can you go against them?
They're so unbelievably good. Do you know what's scary? They lost their best wide receiver. Julian Edelman is one of the 10 to 15 best wide receivers in football. Look, you can say, oh, he might not be as good on a different team. I don't care how good he'd be on a different team. He's on the Patriots. His yards per reception plus the amount of touchdowns he put up is unbelievable.
A ton of touchdowns. He's a slot guy.
He's a great wide receiver, but do you know what's crazy about it? They lost him. They're not going to miss a beat.
No, they're not.
They're going to be fine. Chris Hogan is going to put up 70 catches for like 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns. That's just who they are. And they added Brandon Cooks. And they still have an amazing defense. This Patriots team, and I don't think it's the case anymore. Now they lost Derek Rivers. They lost Julian Edelman. They traded Jacoby Brissett. I think before those injuries, this was the best NFL roster going into a season that we've seen in a long time. I don't think you can say that anymore now that Julian Edelman's down and they lost their number 1 target. But this team's going to the Super Bowl. This team's going to the Super Bowl. I don't know if there's any question about it.
There's definitely a question.
This is the best team in the NFL.
There's definitely a question. One injury and they're not going to the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah.
We don't speak in absolutes
here. They
here.
lose Tom Brady, and yes, they're obviously done. But look at the other teams, the AFC. You stack them up against the Patriots, and they're just not there.
All right, one more time, folks. We will take you through all of these teams here. The Jets at 32, the Niners at 31, the Browns are at 30, the Colts are at number 29, and then those are your bottom 4. Next up are the Buffalo Bills, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Los Angeles Rams, and the Chicago Bears. It takes us inside the top 25 to the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals, the New Orleans Saints, and the Miami Dolphins are number 20. And then inside the top 20, we have the Los Angeles Chargers, the Washington Redskins, the Houston Texans, the Philadelphia Eagles, and then number 16 is the Detroit Lions, then the Minnesota Vikings, the Arizona Cardinals, the Denver Broncos are then 13. Top 12 starts with the Carolina Panthers, the Bucks, the Tennessee Titans, the New York Giants at number 9, the Chiefs come in at number 8, the Cowboys are at number 7, the Raiders are at number 6, the Falcons then are at number 5, and then your final top 4, the Steelers, the Packers, the Seahawks, and the New England Patriots. And again, all of those were brought to you by Mizzen & Main. A big thank you to our sponsors today, Mizzen & Main. Check them out, www.comfortable.af. That's a real website.
Oh, yeah.
Comfortable AF.
It's a great one,
Check it out
too.
today. Dress shirts that feel like athletic wear. Check them out today. Again, a big thank you to Mizzen & Main for sponsoring today's show. Once again, I'm Tom Downey. Alongside me is Harris Rubinstein. Before we go and sign off for the day, prediction time. Harris, I will let you start.
All right, well, we're going to just go right into the Super Bowl prediction. This one, I think, I've talked about this all show. People on a crash course for the Super Bowl. It's the Patriots out of the AFC.
Yeah.
But Aaron Rodgers is going to have. Hold on, this is my prediction.
Finish off.
Aaron Rodgers is going to have one of the best seasons of any quarterback in NFL history this year. He's going to win the MVP, and he's going to lead the Packers to the Super Bowl, and we can finally have the Patriots versus the Packers, Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady in the Super Bowl.
See, I don't mind that pick. But it confuses me because you push so hard for Seattle to be 2, and you don't put them in the Super Bowl.
Nope, I don't, because
pick a side, Harris.
I do this because sometimes you have
because you're playing both sides. That's what you're doing here.
Because when push comes to shove, do you know who always wins those games?
The team with a decent offensive line.
The better quarterback.
And then why'd you have the Seahawks at 2?
Oh, because you still have to go through 16 games. And again, like I said, the Seattle Seahawks have a much easier division than the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers might have to go up against two playoff teams. Seattle Seahawks get to play the Rams and the 49ers 4 times. So that's 4 wins. Plus on top of the fact that the Cardinals aren't going to be very good. So that's another 2
literally had
wins.
them top 15.
I know, we had them top 15, but that doesn't mean they're going to beat the Seahawks. This Packers team, led by Aaron Rodgers, is going to be amazing. I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers leading into the Super Bowl, but this Patriots team is too good. This is going to be the first back-to-back winner since the Patriots in 03 and 04.
Well, we have to get to this comment here. And I see producer Brett smirking over there in the corner. Mr. Blackwell says there will be no Super Bowl. The rapture is coming.
Agreed.
So no Super Bowl, folks. You heard it here first.
It'll be brought by Tom Brady.
Oh, my God. Well, my prediction, and this is made solely to trigger Harris, Packers over Steelers, Patriots don't get in.
Do you know what?
Only one reason, just to trigger you.
Just how do the Steelers beat them?
Offense.
Okay.
They outscore them.
How do they outscore them?
Don't pretend like the Patriots defense is all that great either.
It was great. It was one of the 10. It was one of the 7 best seasons in football last year.
The offense dominated.
They were the number 1
that
scoring
pass rush
defense.
Is not that good.
They were the number
pass
1 scoring defense in football last year. All right. People get on me all this because they don't have DNs. If you don't give up points, they don't have a much better defensive end core than they had last year. Like all they had last year was Trey Flowers.
It didn't get upgraded.
No, it didn't. But guess what? The rest of the team is better.
Yeah.
The rest of the linebacker core is so much deeper than it was last year. The cornerback core is amazing this year. They have the best secondary, maybe, obviously in the AFC East. It might end up being the best secondary in the AFC in general. We'll see. But
I regret doing this because now Harris is going on a pro Patriots fan. So I'm sorry, folks.
You triggered me.
This one's on me. This one's on me.
All
right, that's going to do it for us today. If you missed anything, don't worry. We will loop it. You guys can watch the Power Rankings again. Download the Chat Sports app at chatsports.com/app. Everything you want if you're an NFL fan, stats and scores, news and rumors, articles from all the sources you trust. It's all in one place. Get it today at chatsports.com/app. Once again, I'm Tom Downey. That's Harris Rubinstein. Shout out to producer Brett Scott behind the scenes. That will do it for us today, and you stay classy out there.